Welcome to
Spread the Word!
We're just gonna dive right in because we want to go eat.
We're
really hungry. So Kristen's gonna go first.
So The Cherry Robbers by Sarai Walker, who wrote Dietland.
Yeah.
Yes. The back copy is a little pithy, but it's funny. The Chapel Sisters. First they get married, then they get buried.
Whoa.
So we first meet this woman whose name is Sylvia Wren. She's living in New Mexico in 2017. She's an artist, like a famous art. Have you guys ever spent any time in New Mexico or like know any artists from New Mexico?
I noticed that New Mexico is like an art colony type place.
Taos.
Yeah, Taos.
Yeah, there's like there's a whole vibe there. So she is there. She is this famous artist. She could be living in like the south of France, going to fancy parties all the time, but she prefers just live on her like little compound with her like clunker of a car, like staying away from people basically. She has like an assistant who takes care of all of her correspondence, and then she just like goes home and runs away to her house and does her art. And she has a partner, and her partner Lola goes away, comes back, and they have a lovely life together. She's retrieved some of her letters. You know, the ones she hands off to her assistant, she still reviews them. And one of them is from an investigative journalist, a freelance investigative journalist and documentary woman. Documentarian, that's the word.
Yeah.
And she has basically been like, I know a secret about you. So Sylvia Wren is not actually Sylvia Wren. She is a woman named Iris Chapel. And so she has been living as Iris Walker. Sorry, Iris Wren. Sylvia Wren. She's been living as Sylvia Wren. She and her sisters are perhaps living this curse. One of her sisters got married and died very quickly. Another sister that also happened to. And so then in 1950s Connecticut, Iris escapes an asylum.
Ooh.
And no one hears from her.
The asylums.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was
the boarding schools.
I didn't know the asylum was a part of this when I got into this.
The books just find you.
They do. But so this family, so not only are they perhaps cursed, they are the heirs to the Walker firearm legacy.
Oh, I was wondering why there's a gun very prominent on the cover.
They grew up in this big Victorian house in Connecticut that their mother thought was haunted by the people who died at the hands of Walker firearms, which gave me very, what's that? There's a mansion in LA that like was continuously under construction because this woman was certain like that was the only way she could continue communing with her husband or something, and then like so many people died. Yes, yeah. I think that's what it is. This documentarian has found out Sylvia's secret and is determined to hunt her down and get her story. And so that's how it opens, and then we go and we get their stories.
Sounds good.
It sounds good, yeah.
I realized also I sort of like westerns in films and in books.
Yeah,
That's really fun.
you do.
I know.
I would say so. You're like pirates
Westerns.
and westerns. Your boarding school and asylum. I would say I'm very much, I love like snowy winter, cold, and usually some sort of like nature really like giving it to humans.
Yeah, these are
brutal
the
way.
things.
That's funny. We
I wonder what this says about us, like more deeply. What would our like fated murder be?
Archetype
based on our what our archetypes be based on our reading interests. I feel like I would be Nancy Drew and I would die. I would get murdered by the spooky I was hunting.
Yeah.
I guess mine would be like dashing headlong into battle.
Yeah.
Which actually isn't that like me. I'm not a big risk taker.
I think you'd be consumed by the forest. Oh, I also really like that she gives titles to the chapters.
The Headless Bride.
Yeah. Like Corpse Flower.
Oh yeah, you don't often see those anymore.
Right? Yeah.
Like chapter titles.
I really, really like them. It feels very like atmospheric.
It like makes it feel very like a classic almost.
Yeah.
It's like an adventure. I'm like, why is it titled this?
Right,
Yay,
right.
Figure it out.
So I was having a lot of trouble focusing because my life is really hectic right now. So I decided to do a cookbook.
That's fun.
I picked out the Fresh Eggs Daily Cookbook. And partly why I picked it out is because I don't really cook a lot of eggs. Eggs! Exciting. I picked it out and I was like, I'm going to try to make this one recipe. It was just like a standard omelet, but it was like goat cheese and spinach. Like the lead up to this is like in the beginning of the book, she's talking about how to translate cartons when you go to the store. So there's like a lot of things on there that seem like they mean things, but don't really mean things, or don't mean the things that you think they mean. One thing in particular that I really pulled from it was cage free. When an egg carton says cage free, people like just envision like the chickens out running in the green pastures, and they're not. They're just like in an open warehouse. She had like a lot of little like insights like that. The book goes into like basic egg dishes like omelets or like a hollandaise sauce or poached eggs, things like that, where your focal point is really the egg, and then the rest of the cookbook is like baking with eggs, or like where egg is an element but not the the spotlight.
Cool division.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to make 2 omelets, not just one, but 2 omelets, and I'm going to make one with store-bought eggs and one with fresh eggs. And I drove all the way to fucking Ridgeville to get these eggs. Park Circle chatter, you let me down. Just kidding, you didn't. I love you guys.
It was the time of year.
The time of year, the darkness.
Too dark for the chickens to be laying.
All the way to Ridgeville to get these eggs. It's a house that has chickens, and she sells eggs from her chicken coop. And the cart was like super cute.
Did she say, you said she has them usually available somewhere near her here, right?
Yeah, so she works in North Charleston, so you can pick them up at that business instead of going all the way to Ridgeville. But I was trying to get it done in time for Spread the Word, so I couldn't wait until she was doing that. I picked those up, I got my ingredients, came home, and then I made the 2 omelets, and I asked Julia if she could tell the difference.
Yeah, it was a blind taste test.
I don't know, maybe I'll go this one. Was the farm mix?
Yep.
I got it!
You did. But if you look at the 2 plates, so one of them is definitely like beefier than the other one on sight, but you don't really notice it until you know, while the other one is a little bit like meh, but like still delicious.
Yeah.
Then when I kind of like pointed out the difference in the way that they looked, she was like, oh yeah, that's true. But the recipe was really, really easy to follow, especially for a novice, like somebody who's never made an omelet before. I felt like it was really easy, also delicious. I mean, she did not skimp on the goat cheese.
Yeah, there was a lot of goat cheese in there.
There was a lot of goat cheese. It was delicious.
We were just talking about this. Eggs are so finicky.
Yeah.
It's weird. You can do it great, and then another time, I think also each egg is different.
The stove. The stove and the pan. I mean, there are just so many elements with eggs.
The most annoying realization I've had about eggs is that like the more expensive the eggs you buy, it really does make a difference.
Yeah.
To like both how they taste, but then also like how easy they are to cook with.
Yeah.
Like there's just a difference to the way that the whites hold together, that the yolks hold together, that they emulsify.
Yep.
Not a word by itself. But so like it's sort of begrudgingly, I will spend a lot of money on it.
So yeah, I'm gonna buy it, and I'm gonna keep practicing my eggs. So
yeah.
We have dinner souffles and dinner crepes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, crepes. We need to get Beverly Barfield. We need to get on her supply line.
Yes,
with her hands, with her ladies.
Yeah. I'll tell you guys a little peppy little anecdote.
Yeah,
great.
So when I came home for Christmas one year, I was like walking by my parents' chicken coop, and I heard my dad's voice. I went in and I heard him. He was like, "Okay, girls, you gotta get it together. You gotta get it together. 3 eggs a morning at the minimum, because if not," and I was like, he was like giving them a pep talk, but also threatening their lives.
Oh my god!
I was like, I feel like I got pep talks like this as a child.
Not the like
no
or death, but
the threat of
consequences.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my anecdote.
That's
people
great.
and their hymns. Okay, well, I read a short story collection. This one is called Lesser Known Monsters of the 21st Century by Kim Fu. First of all, I know both of you would like this a lot. All the stories are like kind of maybe slightly in the future, and like playing with some like science fiction-y or dystopian ideas, I guess. But also some magical realism coming in. Like the second one, which is called Liddy, First to Fly, is about a girl who, I don't know, she seems like she's at high elementary school or just into high elementary school, like 5th grader. And she starts having just like a scab on her ankle, and she and her friends are looking at it at recess, and then it turns into like a pimple, and then they like finally pop it, and it's wings. She has wings sprouting out of her ankles.
What?
And so then they're like trying to figure out, she's like practicing jumping off things, and like they're trying to see if she can fly, and she's like, I think I almost got it. And there's a spot that kids go to in their town that's like on a cliff that they jump into the water, but a few kids have died doing it because it's like cliff jump, into like it's pretty high. So they decide to go there and see if she can jump off and fly. But as they're about to do that, their moms come. They realize what they're doing. The tension is built so well in the story that you're like, one, I don't know if it's magic and she's actually going to fly.
Yeah.
Is she really about to die right now in front of her parents and her friends? And it's like the narrator saying stuff like, just because the parents were there, sort of like they've ruined the magic. And like maybe she would have flown, but then now that they're here, maybe she won't fly.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I won't say what happens at the end, but you're like, it's like you're on the edge of your seat reading it.
It's stressful.
It's really stressful.
I hate that when I'm reading it. I'm like, my eyes can't move fast enough.
I know. You're like, wait. So that one was really good. And like, they're just, I mean, all of them. Some of them are more fantastical than others. Like Sandman is about a woman who can't sleep. And one of her coworkers at work is like a German or Belgian guy who's like giving her all, like a super health nut, kind of giving her all this advice, like don't have caffeine after noon and like, exercise and like go to bed at the same time every day and like all this stuff.
Revolutionary advice also.
Yeah. And she tries to do it and it works some, but then she gets visited by this Sandman who pours sand into her mouth, and it's weird, and it's like it feels almost sexual, but it's not. But it's very bodily, like you're like, are you hallucinating? Am I hallucinating reading this? Like, I don't know. Then she wants the Sandman to come more, so she's like not sleeping, but I can't stop reading it. There's another one. The third one, time cubes. There's like a kiosk at the mall. This guy has these time cubes. And it's like, the first one is there's a plant in it, and it's like a baby plant. And there's a dial on the box. And he turns the dial forward, and the plant grows. And grows and grows, and then like dies. Okay. And then you turn the dial back, and it shrinks back down. People would gather around to see like the spiel or whatever, and they're like, that's cool. But then he's like, no one's buying them. They're kind of expensive. And then he pulls out another one that has a frog in it. And he does the same thing. It's a tadpole, and he like does it up till it dies, and then back until it's back to a tadpole. Like the narrator of that one, she is depressive. I think it's like with a capital D. Her therapist has told her to have casual sex with people to try to brighten her mood. She ends up running into that guy and going back to his place, and she finds like a time, and she's like fascinated by the time cubes. They're just really interesting. They make you're like can't look away. So yeah, it's not like happy reading, but it's really engaging. I think a lot of people who come into the store will like this too, because it's like hits a lot of things that we know a lot of our customers like too. Yeah, because we like it a lot. Yeah, just would draw this sort of people.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah,
I liked it a lot. All of them.
Also, look.
Oh yeah, I accidentally matched my cover.
It's beautiful.
Okay. Also, this is called Yes I Canyon.
West. Well, thanks for tuning in to this month's episode of Spread the Word. Yes. We're gonna go eat now
because
have some cocktails.
Woo.
Woohoo.
Because February, self-care.
Yep.
Valentine's
Breaking
Day.
those New Year's resolutions already in the second month.
Yeah.
Anyway, we love you all. Bye.
Bye.